Okay, here we are back on node 1, and let's go ahead and take a look at our cluster and see what it looks like now. So I'm going to come in here to Server Manager, go to Tools, FCM. There we go. Expand Win Cluster and go to Roles. And you can see here that I have my MS SQL Server role here, and it's running. And the owner node right now is currently node 2. If I want to see the resources here, I'm going to drag this up really far. If I want to see the resources, I go to the Resource tab. I can see all of the storage that has been assigned to this cluster or to this group, right? And I can see the other resources. There's my SQL name, my VI, and then here's the SQL service and the agent service. Now, one thing I want to make perfectly clear to you, I alluded to it during the install, but I really want to make it clear here because this is one of the questions I get the most when people first start clustering. Let's go back to Server Manager real quick, and let's go to Tools and Services. There we go. So I'm going to do standard here. So as I look through here, I'll find my SQL services. There's SQL service right there, and there's the agent right there. And you notice how they're both set to manual. Well, that's because the cluster service now manages those. So do not, whatever you do, do not come in here and change this to automatic. These guys need to stay on manual so that the cluster service can manage them properly. You're also going to see the same thing in the SQL Server Config Manager. But in Config Manager, it's going to look a little bit different. You notice how here it says that it's running on node 2. Well, if I were to go to SCM right now, that's SQL Config Manager. See if I can find it that way. Nope. I'll do it this way instead. I'll click on this guy right here. And this should be it. Yep, there we go. Now, if I come here to SQL Services, you notice here how it says they're stopped. That's because I'm physically on node 1, and let's go back to FCM. It shows here that the owner node is node 2. So, of course, the services are stopped on node 1. Remember what I said before back in the slides, that only one node at a time can own these resources. So while it's alive on node 2, it's going to be dead on node 1, and vice versa. That's really something that you need to make sure that you get a grasp of, because when beginners first start doing clustering, the first thing they do is they come in here and they notice that the services are stopped and they freak out. Well, if you know you're on a cluster, go into Cluster Manager first and make sure that you're on the node that you think you're on, because it may just be that the services are alive on another node. So with that said, next we're going to talk about failing over.